Hi, welcome back to a brand new video. Recently I've been working with Microsoft Forms and I was searching for solutions on how to get the responses from a Forms form. There's one way that we all know. No? We can go and get the responses manually over the editor and we can see there who has answered and how many answers and so on and so forth. Another way is to use Power Automate, of course. But the trigger that we usually use in Power Automate says that whenever a response has been submitted. So that will mean that Power Automate will trigger each and every time a response has been submitted, and then you can collect the data and do whatever you like with it. Either save it on SharePoint, send it via email or whatever. But what if we want to get all the responses at once? And not by manually going to the Forms editor, but automatically with Microsoft Power Automate. Let's see how we can do that. As you can see here, we have one forms that I've created for testing purposes. I've called it company car order form. We have here a couple of questions like first name, which is text, email as well, this selection, and so on and so forth. Nothing special, basic. And we can see here in the responses, I've already submitted 3, and we can see here the responses for each question. And yeah, it's pretty neat, pretty nice how it looks like. But again, what if we need to get all these answers at once? What we can do, as I said, also we can go into here and grab all the answers at once, and we have them in an Excel table. But we can also do that with Power Automate. And that's something we're going to check now. So I'm going to select Create, and I'm going to create an instant cloud flow. I'm going to call it get forms data. I'm going to do a manually trigger a flow as a trigger, select create. Okay, so the next step now is to get all the information from that Microsoft Forms form. There is no known connector that can do that as a standard. So it's not that there's a connector there called forms or get all forms or get all answers and so on and so forth. So we need to do like a workaround. It is known that forms is also saved in SharePoint. So what we can use is the send an HTTP request to SharePoint. So I'm going to send an HTTP request to SharePoint. So what this is requesting now is the site address. There is no site address like we are familiar with in SharePoint for forms. It's not that you can go to, as you can see here, contoso.sharepoint.com, or it's not called then forms.sharepoint.com or something similar. How it's called is, let's go here, enter custom value, and it is HTTPS, and it is then forms.office.com. So it might complain, but if you click somewhere else, it will accept it. So the method is a get request. So the tricky part now is to get the URI. So we need the URI to get then the answers. And here is no way possible to get that URI from the URL. At least I don't know how to. But there is another way how to do it. So how to do that is I'm going to go in preview. This is the way the end user will see the form. And I'm going to click F12 to go into the development toolkit here. And I'm going to start answering this form. So I'm going to start here writing Martin, let's write another name, test email test@email.com. Doesn't matter actually, that's not the important part. He wants an SUV, preferred manufacturer, Kia, why not? It has an automatic gearbox, it's a plug-in hybrid. So as you can see here, while we are typing, there already been sent API requests to the forms API. And after we submit it, another API request will be sent. To be able to find that easier, I'm going to clear this console here. So we can clear it from here, and now it's empty. So after submitting, we'll have now 2 or more requests. And as you can see here, we have already in a pop-up, we can see the HTTP, Forms Office, Form API, and so on and so forth, /responses. If we click there, we can open it and see that it was a 201 status code, it was a POST request, and that's how the web service sent our data to the Forms API. But to get those responses, we can use this URL that we can see here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here in the URI. Keep in mind that you need to delete this part since this is already in the site address. So I'm going to delete that, and now we can see here form API, and that's the code, forms, and at the end we have the responses for that. We can leave the headers and the body empty, and we can try it out. So I'm going to select save, and I'm going to test this out, select test, and we can see now what we are getting back. Okay, flow ran successfully, and we can see here show raw inputs. So what I'm getting, I wish I could make this bigger or wider. Anyways, so what we can see here is the status 200. That's the headers, not important. And here in the body part starts getting interesting. So the OData context is our URI, the one that we sent. And here are the values. So we have the ID 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? Because we have, let me close this, because we have 4 responses. And we can see here the start date and the submit date of each response. We can see here the responder. So because I'm sending it all from my company account, and I've set here in the settings that I only want people in my organization to respond. If I put it in anyone can respond, then I'm not going to be able to see the responder email. And the responder name is as well because of that setting. So release date, quiz result, blah, blah, blah. We have here some more information. The tricky part now is that the answers are not separated like this one, but they are here listed in an array. So as you can see here, we have them listed in one array. We have here answer 1, which is the first name, and then it has also the question ID with the ID itself, and it continues with answer 1, which is from the second question, and so on and so forth. Here's the email question, here's the I think it was car category, manufacturer, and so on. So now we need to somehow get that information from that array. Let's go into the edit mode. So next I need to pass that JSON that came back so that I can have the answers as a selectable dynamic value. So I'm going to do a pass JSON. But before I do that, I need that JSON schema. So let's go back real quick and show me that again. Let's go into that run. And let's take a look here. We have the raw outputs. And I'm going to copy this one. And I'm going to say edit, new step, search for JSON. I'm going to say the content is coming from the body, which is coming as a response from the HTTP request. And the schema, I'm going to generate that from this example that I copied before. Select done. And it's complaining because it doesn't like that. Okay. Okay, that should work. Let's test it real quick so that we are sure that our parse JSON is working. Let's take a look inside, and it should Yeah, it looks exactly that, like the one from the sent HTTP request. That's our data inside, and here is where we need to go next. Okay, let's edit. And next I'm going to compose an action so that I can try and split that array and grab the answers that are inside that array for each item in that JSON. So I have already prepared the split function. So let me copy it real quick and explain it to you. So I'm going to rename this compose action. This will be compose get first name. And I'm going to click in there and go to expression and paste it in here. Okay, so what I'm doing, and the reason why I'm doing it this way is because if I try writing it here, split, and then try to grab the dynamic content from the past JSON, I cannot find it here. As you can see, it's not allowing me to dynamically select the columns which are, or the key value pairs from the JSON. But if I just click here, you can see that I can see the key value pairs, and what I need is into these answers. But as an expression, I cannot work with that. I don't know why Power Automate does that, but it's the reason why I have to work with this one. Okay, so it says split items apply to each answers, and then I'm splitting that. Before doing that, I need to put these. I need to put this in an apply to each. Let's see if that will do. No, it will not do it. Okay, so let me create an apply to each first, because we need to loop through each response. That's why it needs to be in there. And here we need to loop through the value of the past JSON. So we have the body and the values. The values are our responses. So we're going to loop through each value, and into that value, we are then going to find the item from this apply to each. I'm going to want the items, which item of the value, because in the value are all the columns, the answers. So answers was the key from the key value pair where our array with the answers is saved. So from that key value pair from the answers, I'm going to split it by the quote at the number 3. So it starts from 0 and counts at 0, 1, 2, 3. So if we, let me open this again and take a look at our HTTP request response. Let's go into that run. And we can see here, show raw inputs. So we can see here we have 0, 1, 2, 3. So after the third quote is the first name. So if I test this, it should give me the first name from the answers. And I shall see here 4 runs for the apply to each. Run successfully. We have 4 runs. The first one is my name, second one, Max, third one, Alexa, fourth one, Martin. And we can see that we have here the 4. Let's refresh that real quick. We have 4 responses: Enea, Max, Alexa, Martin. So these are the responses. Name is who responded. So these are the responses that we wrote in the form. Okay, so now we need to do the same for all responses, unfortunately. And yeah, I haven't found any easier way to do it. So if you do, let me know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that in my clipboard and I'm going to paste it here, which thankfully there is that option. Otherwise I would have to do this from scratch. And I like renaming this, so I'm going to do that first. This will be last name. And what I have seen here is that each answer is on the 8th quote or after the 8th quote. So let's see here, 0, 1, 2, 3 is the first name. Then we'll have 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me go right. 8, 9, 10, 11. So 3 plus 8 is 11. And everything else, I've counted them a couple of times, is 8 times plus. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add 8 every time. Now I have 2 edit modes. Let's close one. So the last name will not be at the position 3, but will be 3 plus 8, which is 11. Update. Add an action. Thankfully, that's still there, so I can paste it every time. Next is email. So this will be renamed to get email. And this will be 11 plus 8, which is 19. Update. Did I update this one? Yeah. Next one, my clipboard, get first name. This one is category. So I'm going to rename that to get category. And we had 19. The next one will be 27. So this is 27. I assume this will be the same for everyone because the structure of that array should be the same for every forms that's been ever created. So you can stick to that, I imagine, but test it out. Okay, so now we have 27. Let's create another one. My clipboard over there. Manufacturer. Let's rename that. Okay, so this one will be, I imagine, 35. Yeah. Update. Next one, we're almost there. Get first name is gearbox and engine. Rename. Get gearbox. The gearbox is 43. 35, was it 35? 35 plus 8, it is 43. So gearbox should be after the quote number 43. Update. And last, we have the engine. Engine. And that one should be from 43 plus 8 should be 51. Update, and let's test it out. If we did everything right, we should be able to have to see all our responses into the composes here. First name, last name looks good, email looks good, the car category looks good, SUV, get manufacturer, the gearbox, automatic, and the engine. Yeah, it looks like it works. And the answers are also coming from here, which are correct. Yeah, that's it. Actually, this was a quick one, but I just want to show you another way on how you can get all the responses at once. Now you can do this once a day, once a week, it's up to you. And then you can decide what you do with this data. This is now in a structured form. You can either save it in a SharePoint or do something else and send it via email. Up to you. You can imagine from here on what you do with this data. I hope you liked it. If you did so, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.